Yesterday, the Las Vegas Raiders had a crucial matchup against the Denver Broncos. This was a game that could have turned their season around. If they had won, they might have been in a great position to make a playoff run. A 3-2 record would have been fantastic, especially considering they've had a new quarterback and offensive coordinator this season. It would have been a huge boost for them. But unfortunately, the Raiders couldn't get it done. And today, we're going to talk about the main issue I noticed in their performance. If this issue isn't fixed, it could seriously damage the rest of their season. This discussion is going to focus entirely on Luke Getsy, who I believe is the worst offensive coordinator in the NFL right now. We'll go over why the Raiders need to move on from him. If they don't, it won't matter, even if they switch to a different quarterback like Aidan McConnell. Success just won't come. For instance, when Aidan McConnell entered the game, the score was 20-10. It wasn't a blowout at that point. If the Raiders scored a touchdown, it would have been 20-17, and they'd be right back in the game. But instead of that happening, due to poor play calling by Luke Getsy, they went 3 and out. They punted the ball, the Broncos quickly marched down the field and scored a touchdown. Now the score was 27-10, and things were starting to look bleak. On the very next drive, McConnell threw a pass that was tipped by Patrick Surtain and intercepted. The Broncos scored another touchdown, making it 34-10 in no time. The game wasn't over when McConnell stepped in, but Luke Getsy's questionable decisions made things worse. Even at the start of the game, the Raiders had some luck. They were up 10-3, and at the 5-yard line before a pick six completely flipped the game. But even then, they didn't seem to have a solid plan. Now let's break down what happened from the first play of the game. The Raiders started off with a screen pass to the left side, which gained only 3 yards. On the next play, they ran the ball and lost a yard. So right from the start, they were stuck in a tough 3rd and 8 situation. The offense just didn't have any rhythm. Most teams struggle in 3rd and 8 situations unless you're the Chiefs or the Bills. For an average offense, it's not a favorable down to be in. But the Raiders got lucky. Quarterback Gardner Minshew took off running when the play broke down and managed to pick up a first down. On the very next play, Minshew threw a 50 pass to Brock Bowers, and Bowers made an incredible catch, turning it into a 50-yard touchdown. Just like that, the Raiders were up 7-0. Now let's look closely at what really happened in those first 4 plays. The Raiders ran 2 bad plays, found themselves in a tough 3rd down, but then got bailed out by Minshew's scramble and a risky 50 pass to Bowers. That 50-yard touchdown wasn't because of great play calling. It was just Bowers making an amazing play. This route that Bowers ran wasn't new either. The Raiders had used it in previous games, and it worked again here. But you can't rely on those kinds of plays every time. Sure, giving Bowers a 50 chance works sometimes because he's bigger than most corners. That's definitely a good thing for the Raiders, but it's not a sustainable game plan. Now let's jump into the second drive. The Raiders were up 7-0, but their next drive started off poorly with a short 1-yard pass, followed by a run that went nowhere. Once again, the Raiders faced a tough 3rd and 9 situation. They struggled on 1st and 2nd downs, putting them in these long 3rd downs, which are hard to convert for most teams. Gardner Minshew bailed them out again by picking up the first down, but we can't keep relying on him in these situations. He's not the type of quarterback who can always save us like that. On that drive, things started well with an 18-yard pass to Jakobi Meyers and some good runs. But then, rookie DJ Glass committed a false start, pushing us back to 2nd and 15. The next play highlighted a major issue with the coaching. 2 tight ends ran into each other. In the NFL, plays happen fast, and mistakes like that just can't happen. After gaining a few yards on 3rd down, the Raiders had to settle for a field goal, making the score 10-0. But this shows that coaching isn't just about calling plays. It's about teaching players how to execute them properly. Luke Getsy hasn't done that, which is why we see these errors. On the third drive, Amir Abdullah had a 40-yard run, putting the Raiders in a great position. They made it all the way to the 4-yard line and could have gone up 17-3, but Gardner Minshew threw a pick six to Patrick Surtain. While some say he missed Brock Bowers, I think Minshew was trying to throw to him but was blocked by a defender in his line of sight. The pass sailed too high, and the Broncos scored, making it 10-7 instead. Brock Bowers didn't go for the ball because he knew there were other receivers behind him as part of the route, and you're taught not to interfere if the ball isn't meant for you. The play itself was poorly designed. It was a power play action, with the guard pulling to the right and Gardner Minshew rolling left, which would have worked if Bowers was the only option on that side. But with multiple receivers in a small space on the goal line, it became messy. Having three receivers in one area on a goal line play made no sense. This was clearly a bad play call by Luke Getsy. You can't just blame the quarterback. Minshew still could have made a better throw, but the play design was the bigger issue. If you think the only problem is Minshew, you'll be surprised when Aidan O'Connell faces similar struggles because Getsy's system is flawed. I've watched Getsy when he was with the Bears, and it's the same problem. His play designs lack spacing and cause confusion. After the pick six, the Raiders' momentum shifted, and on the next drive, Jakobi Meyers dropped a key pass on 3rd and 8, which could have changed the game. Drops have been an issue all season for the Raiders, and this was just another costly one. Later, the Raiders faced a manageable 3rd and 5, but ran the ball, gaining only 3 yards. Then, on 4th and 2, they punted. Some blamed coach Antonio Pierce for running the ball, but it seems like Getsy made the call, and Pierce likely trusted him. While punting on 4th and 2 made sense, running on 3rd and 5 didn't. The Raiders should have been more aggressive in trying to convert the 3rd down. Overall, Getsy's play calling has been questionable, and this game highlighted some of those ongoing issues. The issues with Luke Getsy's offense became clear to me even during preseason. Aidan O'Connell played against the Vikings' first-team defense, but the play fell apart when two players ran into each other. That's something you fix early in training camp, not in a game. While you expect some mistakes in preseason, these problems carried into the regular season for the Raiders. On the very first drive of the season, there was a miscommunication between the quarterback and Zamir White during a handoff, which blew up the play. Then later in the same game, Gardner Minshew fumbled during a run-pass option because of miscommunication with Davante Adams. These mental errors shouldn't be happening this often. Throughout the season, the same mistakes continued. Poor spacing, players running into each other, and misaligned routes led to interceptions and missed opportunities. For instance, Minshew threw a curl route while Davante Adams ran an out route, leading to a turnover. Luke Getsy's offensive design allows for choice routes, but it's causing confusion instead of results. The biggest frustration is seeing these same problems every week. The Raiders' offense is disorganized, and Getsy isn't adapting. Even with chips to help block Myles Garrett, the wrong player was often being double-teamed, leaving Garrett with one-on-one opportunities. These are coaching issues. In my opinion, the Raiders should move on from Getsy and hand play-calling duties to someone else. Other quarterbacks like Derek Carr, Sam Darnold, and Baker Mayfield are thriving with better offensive coordinators. Gardner Minshew had success last season with the Colts under Shane Steichen, but now the play designs are worse with the Raiders. I think the Raiders should give Aidan O'Connell a shot at quarterback. If he struggles, it might confirm that the real issue is the offensive coordinator. Hopefully, the team can turn things around. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time.